Hey, welcome back to Grid Gym. We're up in front of the board today. We're immortalizing Tori's quote from this weekend. She was teaching metabolic workout, and she said there is no rest period, just curls. If you're out here a lot, we don't do a lot of curls, so that's not the kind of place that we are. But anyway, we're going to go over some stuff about programming this weekend. Sorry, Tori, I got to take down your quote. But we're going to revisit the Move Strong Matrix. We're going to revisit the Move Strong Matrix. We're going to go over some stuff here. I'm going to remove my notes so that I can keep on track, because you guys know how good I am at that. And once we go through this, you're going to see some of the faux pas that I see in the strength and conditioning world that really could probably hold a lot of people back, and hopefully this video helps people out, and so that they can program for themselves, so they figure out how to do it just a little bit better. So what are some common errors? Well, first of all, let's go through the Move Strong Matrix and make sure that we just revisit that real quick. It's strength, and then it's power, and it goes in this order, and then it's speed, all right? These qualities are trained in this order. We don't get speed first and then try to develop power and then try to develop strength. We need a good baseline of strength, and it has to be with the aim of movement quality first. One of the biggest errors I see this is supposed to be towards the end, so this is me going off of my own script, but one of the biggest errors I see in the strength and conditioning world is that people would focus solely on strength or muscle gain up front instead of focusing on movement patterns. You focus on movement patterns and you get the other two via the quality of the movement. You don't get to do it the other way around, just leads to an injury. So we've got strength, we've got power, we have speed. I realize it's kind of hard to see on the video here, so it's about as big as clear. But anyway, so the rest of we have alactic, we have glycolytic, and we have aerobic. So we have aerobic, uses oxygen. This is your long steady state cardio. This is your short high intensity interval training. This is what anybody who's doing well business-wise in the world right now, you know, you got CrossFit, Orange Theory, Farrell's, Kusama, you know, all these places, they live right here. This is all they do. They don't do any of this, they do this. And I'm going to get into that here in just a second. And then we've got mobility, stability, and we have stiffness. Okay, a lot of people ask me, like, why is stiffness in there? Why would stiffness be included in your program? Like, why would you consider that? Well, stiffness is just as important as all the rest of these. I don't know if there's one is more important than the other. There's definitely an order to this thing, but you need stiffness in your body. You want stiffness in your body. Your body can't just lay down its own stability and its own mobility. It's not just going to do it for you, but it can lay down stiffness for you. So if you impose a demand upon your body, such as jogging every day, like jogging 10 miles every day, you're not going to be strong enough for your body to take that. So your body goes, okay, well, I'm going to stiffen that back line up so that you won't get injured. And eventually we know that we do kind of tend to get injured on that number. Sorry guys, I got a little bit of a throat today. I've been losing my voice all weekend, but if you were around this weekend, go check out Ali Omar. His fight this weekend was awesome. But one of the strength programs I saw, so this is how we do it. We focus on strength first and with quality of movement. Quality of movement, strength, not strength for the sake of strength. And then we added some power, and then we added some speed. And then we're really still focusing on strength, but we get the other two in the middle. And then when we want to lose fat, we look at this. We look at, first we need to build a base. Okay, the bigger we build that base, the more that we can get out of these two up top, okay? Without building this base, you're not going to get near as much as what you could have gotten out of these two if you don't build this base of aerobic capacity down here. The error that everybody makes is that their aerobic capacity is they put too much time and effort into it. Our bodies are so good at it. Our bodies are already so good at that aerobic base that we don't just need to train and train and train and train and train. You don't need to do 5 miles every day. You need 1 day a week where you're going 30 to 45 minutes with your heart rate at about 120 to 140 beats per minute. That's going to vary depending on the person. That's not across the board exactly for everybody, but most people are going to fit in that 120 to 140 beats per minute. 1 day per week is sufficient for everybody. 1 or 2 days per week is probably sufficient for most people of this. But everybody is just living here, denying this, and doing a crap job over here. And an even worse job right there. This, we're really, I don't know even where to give my opinion on that. Yoga does a good job as long as you're a good yoga professional. And even then, it's really more about what you don't stretch than what you do stretch in the mobility, stability, stiffness category. But anyway, this isn't about this. This is about programming. This video is about programming. So what are some of the common errors that I see in the programming? Is that they will do, so let's just take one workout at a time. Let's say one workout. I saw this weekend. I pulled up a program. I bought this guy's system to see what he was doing. And he's putting this last. Now, I don't even know where to go with that. Like, maybe he knows something I don't, and that's me trying to be extremely humble. But you would never put this last. You would never put your power medium last. If you put power last, that would be like running 3 miles and then going doing your top speed work. Okay, so you would never ever do your power last in an individual workout or in any workout. You would always put it up front because you need as much. You need every ounce. You're going to put more energy into less time with power than you will with other things down the line. So you always put your power up front. So that's one of the first things I see is putting the power last. The other thing is now when you get into the more of like a macro scale of like the entire month, is that or the entirety of the workout is people will do they'll spend. Let's say they get all of this right, and they're doing really well with each one of these things. But they spend too long doing that same program. So they spend like 10 weeks doing the same program. That will work really, really well for someone who is just starting out in strength conditioning. But if they're 2 years in, then 10 weeks is probably just, it's way too long. So that's error number 2. So first error is putting power medium first. Putting speed first is another, or putting power medium last. You would never do squats and then do glute hams and then at the end do like jumps with a barbell, or if you're really into the Olympic lifting thing, you'd never do Olympic lifting right there. It would be earlier in the training program, right? So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is they'll do the same thing for too long. So they'll do things for 6, 8, 10 weeks long, when really they should have shortened it down to less than 6. A lot of people will do stuff for too short too. This is probably the more common error, is that people will do this, will put these all together, and then they'll do it for, they'll do one workout and then they'll never repeat that workout. There's a huge error, and it's something that people are selling on. They're selling on variety, and it's an error. You do not want to do a different workout every time that you work out. If you do a different workout every time, your body never learns. It would be like playing baseball one day. It'd be like taking a 6-year-old and playing baseball one day, and then wrestling the next day, and then playing football the next day, and then playing cricket the next day, and then playing a different sport every single time. They would never actually get good at that one sport. So you would want to play that same sport for about a month, maybe 3 months, and then switch to a different sport, play that one, and then do a different sport, and play that one, and then do a different sport, and play that one, and that would develop the athlete, right? Well, the same thing is with your body. You need time to be able to learn that thing. So you want to do, on Mondays, if you're doing squats, you want to do Monday as a squat day for the next 3 to 6 weeks would be an option, okay? I'd say like probably 4 weeks is where most people are they're gonna get sick of the exercises, so they're gonna have a lack of motivation, but also their body is still gonna be getting something out of it, so you want that. Something else, my notes are all over the place. Okay, so we've gone to the power medium last, that's stupid. Too long is easy to do because it's easy to just get into the same routine, but you want to switch it up eventually. Too short, your body needs time to learn. It needs time to learn the exercises, and it needs time. Strength is a skill. People don't really realize this. They just think you're strong or you're not. No, it's a skill that your body develops over time. It's not something that you can force into submission. That would be like trying to force yourself to learn algebra, or force yourself to learn how to write really well. No, it's a practice. It's a coaxing. You have to coax the gain along. All right. The other one, the next one is too much of the same thing. So let's say we're on a strength program and we do. I don't have anywhere to write. So let's say we're on a strength program and we're doing our strength workout, and we're just taking an individual workout. You can do this in the macro scale too, but you're doing an individual workout, and you do barbell bench is your 1A, and then your next exercise that you're going to do, let's say you just rest in between each set. Next exercise is a 2 dumbbell bench, and then you do another 1 arm dumbbell bench. And then, do you get what I'm saying? You just spend all your time right here. Too much of the same thing is eventually going to wear us down to somewhere where we don't want to be. We want to be having a little bit, at least a little bit of variety in there. This is one of the errors that I see with the bodybuilding programs. That they're just like, they just spend all their time, they have a press day, and then they have a pull day, and then they have a shoulder day, and then they have a quad day, and then they have a hamstring day, and then they have a low back day. It's really interesting. It's like, why don't we do barbell bench, and then we take advantage of that rest period, which is one of the other errors that I'm going to get into in a second. Then we take advantage of that rest period, and we do some type of row in between that's not heart rate intensive, and it's not going to take away from the bench. And then so we've got a 1A and a 1B. So we get done with those sets, and we go to 2A, 2B, and we do a 1 arm, so we went barbell bench with a row. Now, so we got 2 very scapular depressive exercises. Let's go to a 1 arm incline dumbbell press. So we're self-limiting because we're on 1 arm, so it's gonna really try to tug us over. So we can't just push a ton of weight. We have to use our core to stabilize us. Now, you've got that shoulder blade to wrap up and around. We're getting a little bit of a different angle. We got a little different weight selection. We have a self-limiting exercise. We have some variety now. We're at an angle, so our shoulder blade has to kick in, our serratus has to kick in to pull our shoulder blade through. Things are better off that way. So, and then we have, let's say we have some kind of external rotation exercise, like a frontal plane external rotation, where we're just sitting here going like that with maybe like a cable or a band. And we're working on that rotator cuff while we're getting that press. Now we've got 2 presses, one pull, and external rotation exercise. Now let's say we go to something different, like a push-up, maybe like a yoga push-up, so that we can actually get around into a different position. So really, if you think of a push-up, it's a moving plank. Let's say we move to just 1 leg with that yoga push-up, 1 leg yoga push-up. Now we got a moving plank with an anti-rotary, so we're bracing, we're going anti-rotation, and we're getting that shoulder blade to wrap up and around the rib cage like that, the way that we want to. So we've got variety in our program now, so our body has the stimulus of change without getting overrun with the same exercise over and over and over again. Part of the reason that we get injured is because our stabilizers don't have the endurance to keep on going. We can't just beat the shit out of the body and expect it to just keep on loving us. It won't happen. All right, so too much of the same thing is another error. And I said, this is one of the big things that I see is a program will be written. I'm going to get rid of this. We might come back to this. A program will be written, and it won't take advantage of rest time. So at grit, we do 1A, and then we'll do 1B, and then we'll do 2A, and then we'll do 2B, and then we'll do 3A, and then we'll do 3B. So you get it? And we might do a 3C. So now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 exercises all in one workout. So let's say this was a workout, and let's say we're going to do squats. I know I have an amazing handwriting. We have squats and then 1B. Like normally most programs would just not take advantage of this 1B right here. They would just not take advantage of the rest period. But you're going to take about 2 minutes, maybe 45 seconds to 5 minutes between your squats, between each set of squats. So if we have 5 minutes there, man, I don't want to just be tapping my toes. I want to go and do something that can benefit me. So maybe I do some kind of, let's just call it a joint health. Let's just call it a joint health exercise, a low intensity heart rate exercise that doesn't it doesn't make my heart rate go through the roof. It doesn't exhaust me. It is just very, very easy. Or it doesn't exhaust you. So it could be an external rotation exercise. It could be a hip stability drill. It could be a really low level core activation. It could be a lot of different things. It could be something just to help out and keep your joints healthy in between the squats that doesn't take away from the squat. All right, and then we're going back to that same variety thing. Maybe we get some kind of speed pull, some kind of deadlift, some kind of single leg RDL right there that is going to, so we've got squats, very quad dominant, very knee dominant. So our quads are going to have to kick in a lot. Our hamstrings are going to be part of the exercise, but not as much. And our butt is going to be a big part of it too. Now, you go to a one-leg RDL, now we're thinking less quad, much more hip dominant, so we're going to sit into our butt more, we're going to use our hamstring more, we're going to have some a stability component and an anti-rotary component because we're on one leg. Anytime that you're on one leg, you are in anti-rotation. But then again, now you got something heavy, now we can do something here too. Maybe we put another joint health in there, all right? Now we've got a joint health, and we've got a single leg RDL, we've got a squat, so we've got knee dominant, we've got hip dominant, now we're going to maybe, I don't know, a one leg squat, let's say. We're just making this up, but for this hypothetical person that we have no idea, we've never done an assessment on. But this gives us some variety, right? So 2-leg squat, 1-leg RDL, 1-leg squat, and then maybe we do a core exercise and a core, and I like to call it the trunk. I like to keep everything from here to here, I like to call the trunk. Because really anything that manipulates your pelvis is part of your core. So your hip flexors, your hamstrings, your butt, it's all part of your core. And if that's the case, well, the pelvis is just the lower body's, the shoulder blade is just the pelvis of the upper body. So your pelvis and the shoulder blade are basically the same thing. One just is split apart and moves differently than the bottom level does. So anything that affects the shoulder blade would also be part of the core. So your serratus anterior is a huge core muscle. It is very, very important in your shoulder health. So anything that manipulates the pelvis or manipulates the shoulder blade is part of the core. Well, we can, there's still stuff that goes past the elbow and past the knee that affects the pelvis and affects the shoulder blade. So it's everything the core, so I like to call this the trunk. So let's say we're working on the trunk, we're working on single leg. So this is a way that we can take advantage of rest time when we do these in-betweeners, these little joint health or core things, the in-betweeners, so that we're taking care of our bodies and addressing some of our weak points while we're still getting the most out of our actual workout. And this is one of the big areas that I was going to go into before I got on my little tangent. This is the big error that you see with a lot of these places that are just focusing on endurance, endurance, endurance. Remember, if you walk up to the bar, you walk up to your weight, and you're in a strength-driven program where the goal of that workout is to get stronger. If you're out of breath when you walk up to that bar or you walk up to your weight, that is no longer strength, that is endurance. So when you're looking at like CrossFit, Orange Theory, all these different things, they're sacrificing strength for the cardio component. Okay, so cardio is the alactic and the glycolytic and the aerobic. And like I said before, you want to build this big base. This is the one that gets left out. You want to build this big base so that you get more out of these up here. Most people aren't doing that. Most people are just getting a little bit, and they're getting this little, like, kind of narrow pyramid thing, and it doesn't work very well. But what I was getting at there was, this is the error this is probably the biggest error that I see in the strength conditioning or the fitness world right now, is that they try to take the strength, power, speed over here, and they try to say that this is where we can get it. Well, we can't get it from alactic, glycolytic, and aerobic. That's not going to happen. We sacrifice speed, we sacrifice power, and we sacrifice strength when we go to these. That's not to say that these aren't good. They're extremely, extremely good. But they are not these. They're two very different things. So when we're adding in, we're trying to say, oh, we're going to do a barbell squat over here. We're going to do a barbell squat in a circuit. Wrong. You're going to do a heavy deadlift in a circuit. Wrong. You're going to do a bench press in a circuit. Wrong. It's just going to get somebody extremely hurt. It's asking for a problem. Someone was telling me the other day about how they were, someone put a video up online. They were trying to do deadlifts on a straight bar, conventional deadlifts, so their feet are narrow, they're in here, so they have to basically lift the bar out around their knees, and they were trying to do 50% of their 1 rep max for a certain number of reps, and they were at 51 reps. Like, you should not be able to get to 51 reps at 50% of your 1 rep max. You should not be able to do that. That should not be a thing. Maybe 20, but not 50. Not 50. That's obviously a thing where this is someone trying to play in the strength realm in here. You also can't do so you can't do strength in here. You also are begging for injury when you add highly technical exercises. When you add highly technical exercises, most of the time that means power. Most of the time when I'm talking about, there's Olympic lifts. Olympic lifts are the snatch where you take it from the ground, you bring it to your knees, and you pop your hips and you catch it up. Or a clean where you got your hands narrow and you catch it in the clean. Or you jerk from the rack position up. So nothing wrong with those exercises. Those are perfectly fine exercises for Olympic lifters, not for anybody else. They are completely pointless for anybody besides an Olympic lifter. But you put those highly technical exercises, extremely highly technical exercise, in a situation where you're exhausted, when the alactic and glycolytic component, one, you're not going to get anything out of them because they live right there in the power medium. That's where you do these, not over here. Number two, they're highly technical. This is where you drop the bar on your head, essentially, or you break your back, or you hit yourself in the chin on the way up for a jerk or a snatch, which happens and people knock their teeth out. This is stupid. It's just really ignorant and dumb. But, so highly technical, huge error. What are some of the other ones? Oh, you do not get to do top speed over here. It doesn't work. It doesn't work to do top speed. Top speed would be things like box jumps. Box jumps done in a conditioning circuit is probably stupider than doing Olympic lifts in a conditioning circuit. And I'm not insulting people's intelligence there. By saying that they're ignorant, I'm pointing out they do not have enough education to be actually teaching what they're doing. They need to look at this stuff logically, and they're getting people hurt. And that, like if you think in lines of, like I tend to think, however you want to live your life, as long as you're not hurting anybody else, this gets people hurt. This is where a line does need to be drawn. The doctors have that thing, do no harm. Well, fitness professionals need to have that same idea. Box jumps, you catch a toe, you catch a shin, you cut up your leg, you fall, you break your arm, whatever it is, because trying to do them in an endurance setting, you do not get top speed anyway, and you don't get anything out of the exercise because it belongs over here, or it belongs down here, my bad. It belongs down here in speed. It belongs down there in speed. It does not belong over here in an alactic glycolytic component. It's a huge error in the fitness industry, and hopefully it stops happening very soon. Other than that, and I'm kind of running up on time, so I'm going to try to wrap this up real quick. So no technical exercises in an endurance component. No top speed exercises in a endurance place. Nothing heavy in an endurance space. Huge errors. Always take advantage of your rest periods. And then always, so this is strength, right? Always address movement quality before muscle gain and before strength gain. Doing so will make you so that you can get, so it's going to pay you dividends later, but it's also going to pay you dividends right now. You're going to get more strength gain and more hypertrophy if you focus on the movement quality and strength within that medium than if you just go, oh, I'm going to try to get as big as I can. Oh, I'm going to try to get as strong as I can. For one, you're going to address a situation where you're gaining an injury. And for two, if you would have focused on this, you would have gotten them anyway. So focus on the quality of the movement up front, and you're going to get stronger. So, and then, what is it? Power lasts is really stupid. You want your workouts to be the same over and over again for about 4 to 6 weeks, depending on where you are. A beginner will be able to go up to 10 weeks, but by that point, it gets kind of stale and boring. Too much of the same thing, you don't want in a program. You want variety in your program, but you want to keep that same variety for like Monday, like we did with the upper body thing where he said bench press and then one arm incline and then a row and then, that program. Well, we want to do that every Monday for like 4 to 6 weeks. We wouldn't want to do that just once and then the next time change it, the next time change it, the next time change it. But there's just some of the errors that I see. This is definitely the most problematic right here. Is people that are in an endurance type cardio where they're out of breath and they're doing highly technical exercises trying to hit top speed that doesn't happen, or they're going way too heavy. It's extremely dangerous and you don't get anything out of it anyway, except for that heart rate component, which we could have gotten somewhere else with other exercises that are much safer. But anyway, that's just a quick rundown on some of the errors I see. I realize I kind of went around on some tangents there. Sorry about that, guys, but hopefully you all got something out of it. Anyway, thanks for being here for a little bit of my ramblings today. But anyway, please comment, like, share, and also, can you guys tell me, do you like this with the board in the background and actually like doodling stuff out? We've done it a couple of times now. The people in here at Grit, I got some feedback from, but I haven't gotten a lot of feedback from people online. So if you like that, please comment down below and tell me that this is a good way that you like to do it. And I think that we'll probably end up doing that with Eric this week too on Thursday, because that guy's got a lot of information to get out. He's a wealth of knowledge. Anyway, thanks for being here, guys. Really appreciate it. Please like, comment, share, and I'll see you tomorrow.